Good evening and welcome to the Diamond Newsdesk at 8. We bring you the latest from our website, diamondtvzambia.com. You can also follow us on Diamond TV Online, that's on Facebook, as well as Diamond TV on X. Do stay tuned for the headlines. Your headlines. Mother demands justice after 3-year-old son dies following circumcision at Livingston UTH. Lusaka court finds witch doctors with case to answer in alleged witchcraft attempt against President Hichilema. And finally, twin brother of slain pharmacist clarifies circumstances surrounding death amid affair allegations. I'll be back with the details. So glad you could join us for this evening's bulletin of the Diamond Newsdesk at 8. My name is Tapongoma with the details. Starting us off is on a sad note where a mother of a 3-year-old boy who is alleged to have died at the Livingston University Teaching Hospital post-circumcision is demanding justice. In an interview with Diamond News, the boy's mother, Masuzio Njovu, has explained that she voluntarily brought her son to the facility on Wednesday, July 30th, 2025, for the procedure, which was conducted the following day, Thursday, July 31st, 2025. Ms. Njovu says complications arose soon after, leading to the child's admission into the intensive care unit and his death on Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. The family is accusing the hospital of gross negligence and is pursuing legal action. They are also demanding full compensation, including coverage of all funeral expenses. And the hospital management has acknowledged receipt of the complaint but could not comment further, citing an ongoing internal investigation.
She weeps, believing the death of her son could have been prevented if only the hospital had communicated every step as complications unfolded. This is in a case where the Livingston University Teaching Hospital in southern Zambia is facing accusations of gross negligence following the death of 3-year-old Marcus Masinza, allegedly after a failed circumcision procedure.
My son has died purely because of negligence. The doctors could have done something for my boy. But he stayed for 6 days and they were just looking at him and everyone was running away from me. If I tried to seek for their help, because I wanted to know what's happening, what's really going on. It was a hassle getting those doctors. They were hiding. I'm told if it's the senior doctor was working just on call, was just working on call. So please, I'm kindly asking for justice for my son.
The grieving family is now demanding compensation over the incident.
He went to the hospital, the the baby, and then here we are today. We are mourning as a family, of which we really, really are heartbroken because of the negligence that took place by the central hospital. So we're kindly asking for the government to help us through, not only to this issue. Definitely, there are a lot of people whereby this can still repeat itself.
Mwana inze chabe na health ya bwino. So tupempa kuli government tufuna vonse igule vakudya pamaliro ma transport machani kai pamene bapaya ni mu hospital ya government nga bambeera na ba president bakainde chitema bazipita nako ma hospital baone bantu mwamene bafera ku hospital bakamba ati munkwala ulimo mu hospital nga mwaenda ku hospital tupeza munkwala mulibe.
Senior medical superintendent of the facility, Dr. Kasia Chienu, has expressed sadness but declined to comment further, citing an ongoing investigation.
But I've been told everything. I'm just waiting for the documentation reports, and then I think we'll have a proper position. Going to feel it. I was saying, yeah, we have an incident like that. It occurred today, that we are still dealing with it. We are still trying to get to the bottom of it.
For now, the family insists they will not proceed with burial until the outcome of the investigation is made public. Gabriel Jasas Mova, Diamond News, Southern Zambia.
The Lusaka's Magistrates Court has found 2 witch doctors with a case to answer for allegedly attempting to harm President Hakainde Hichilema through witchcraft. The accused Leonard Piri, 43, of Sinde District in Eastern Province, and Justin Kandunde, 42, of Mozambican national, have been placed on their defense. The court has ruled that the prosecution has established a prima facie case against the 2. We have more details in this report.
In February 2025, the trial of 2 witch doctors accused of attempting to harm President Hakainde Hichilema began in the Lusaka Magistrate Court, with both accused pleading not guilty. The high-profile case has captured national attention. The 2 men are charged with possessing charms and claiming knowledge of witchcraft in an alleged plot to bewitch the head of state in November 2024. The accused have been identified as Leonard Piri, aged 43, from Sinde District in Eastern Province, and Justin Kandunde, aged 42, a Mozambican national. One of the key witnesses, an officer from the Immigration Department, had testified that authorities apprehended 3 individuals, including the Mozambican national, at an apartment along Zambezi Road in Lusaka in November 2024. During interrogation, one suspect reportedly confessed that he had been hired by a man named Emmanuel J. Banda through his brother Nelson Banda to use black magic against President Hichilema. The witness told the court that various ritual items were recovered from the apartment, including bottles with unknown substances, a live chameleon sealed inside a bottle, and the tail of an unidentified animal. A red cloth allegedly used in ritual ceremonies was also discovered. The witness further testified that officers saw the chameleon move in and out of the bottle in an unusual manner. Months after hearing from several state witnesses, the court has ruled that the accused have a case to answer. They are now expected to open their defense. Darius Jonya, Damo News.
A 45-year-old man from Kapirimposhi in Central Province, Joseph Boa, has been sentenced to 5 years in prison with hard labor from unlawful possession of over 600 kilograms of hippo meat. Mr. Boa was arrested on 16th July 2025 by the Department of National Parks and Wildlife's Rapid Deployment Team in Livingston while transporting 618 kilograms of dried hippo meat packed in 288 bundles. Appearing before the Livingston Subordinate Court, Boa pleaded guilty and was convicted by Magistrate Tabitha Mulenga.
The wildlife trafficking case has ended with the firm message in the courts: Zambia's protected species are not for sale. Joseph Boa, a 45-year-old businessman from Kapirimposhi, has been sentenced to 5 years in prison with hard labor, contrary to Section 130, subsection 1 of the Wildlife Act No. 14 of 2015, after he was caught red-handed transporting over 600 kilograms of dried hippo meat. The Wildlife Police Rapid Deployment Team in Livingston intercepted Boa's vehicle on 16th July 2025. Inside, they found 288 neatly bundled packages of meat. But when asked for a certificate of ownership, a legal requirement for all protected wildlife products, he had nothing to show. Investigations reveal he was ferrying the meat from Tshiseke to Lusaka, likely part of a wider illegal trade network. Appearing before Magistrate Tabitha Mulenga at the Livingston Subordinate Court, Boa pleaded guilty and has been sentenced. The Department of National Parks and Wildlife has welcomed the sentence, describing it as a strong stance against poaching and illegal trade. Gabriel Jasas Mova, Damo News, Southern Zambia.
The family of late pharmacist Luena Simulozela, who was last week shot by his brother-in-law, has dispelled rumors that he was engaged in extramarital affairs with his late stepsister. Speaking during the funeral service held at Arakan Army Barracks Chapel in Lusaka, Luena's twin brother, Temesha Simulozela, says his brother died while trying to save and protect their sister from her husband. And wife to the late says her husband's death has come as a shock, while her children have described him as a kind and loving father who did not deserve such a painful death. Meanwhile, Solwezi Central Member of Parliament Stanford Mulusa has urged mourners to continue offering emotional and practical support to the bereaved family, even after the funeral.
Engulfed the Arakan Barracks Army Chapel in Lusaka today as mourners gathered to pay their final respects to murdered pharmacist Wana Samlozela. According to police reports, 42-year-old Wana Samlozela and his stepsister Womba Samlozela, aged 41, were fatally shot by Funku Tamuyembi, a 46-year-old police officer stationed at Solwezi Central Police Station, who was also Womba's husband. The tragic incident is believed to have stemmed from an ongoing marital dispute. Mr. Mlozela leaves behind a wife and 4 children. Speaking during the funeral service, his twin brother Ntemesha Samlozela clarified the events that transpired on the fateful day.
He ran out of his bedroom, went to the bedroom where my sister was sleeping with my niece, found the guy holding a weapon, still holding the weapon, wanting to discharge more rounds on my sister. So he held the guy from behind to try to restrain him. In the process, he elbowed him, because he was a neutral guy, one was a civilian. He elbowed him, one went behind. So when one went behind, he turned around with the weapon and shot him in the back. That's what transpired.
In a tribute, the widow of the deceased shared heartfelt memories from their final moments together, while his daughters remembered their father as a loving and caring parent.
Just 3 weeks ago, we took a trip to Livingstone, our final adventure together. That memory now feels like a precious farewell gift. Tataya Kamana, you never told me you were leaving. You never said goodbye. You were gone before we knew it. You didn't have favorites among us. You loved us all. You didn't deserve such a painful death, Dad. It feels like a bad dream waiting for someone to wake us up from it.
Also speaking at the service, Solwezi Central Member of Parliament Stanford Mulusa urged the family to remain united and continue supporting one another.
We all have that one day. My prayer to the family is that let us remain strong. Yes, there are difficulties. These difficulties will always be there. But get united.
Meanwhile, friends and representatives from the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia expressed their deep sorrow and condolences to the family, describing Mr. Samlozela as more than just a pharmacist, but a man whose impact went beyond his profession.
He lived and breathed pharmacy, not just as a career, but as a calling. He served with diligence and integrity at both student and professional levels, and his contributions will remain etched in the history of our society.
At the time of his death, Mr. Samlozela was serving as a civil servant in the Ministry of Health, recently transferred to Solwezi District. Cherish Sibote for them.
The late former cabinet minister and chairperson of Local Government Service Commission, Axon Sejani, has been laid to rest. His family has confirmed that Mr. Sejani died from kidney failure on 28 July 2025 in Johannesburg, South Africa, where he had been receiving treatment. In a tribute read on her behalf, his wife, Jessie Sejani, has described her husband's passing as heartbreaking, as she highlights his qualities as a caring, attentive, and present partner. Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema has urged citizens to emulate Mr. Sejani's unwavering dedication and resilience, particularly during times of adversity. The president has praised the late leader's lifelong commitment to public service. Mr. Sejani has been survived by his wife and 4 children.
The final chapter has been written for a life dedicated to service and nation building. Akson Sejani, a former cabinet minister and revered chairperson of the Local Government Service Commission, has been laid to rest, leaving behind a legacy etched in the hearts of his loved ones and the honors of the nation's history. The air was heavy with sorrow as his wife, Jessie Sejani, bid her final farewell. In a poignant tribute read on her behalf, she painted a picture of a love story cut short, describing her husband as a man who embodied compassion, attentiveness, and an ever-present source of strength.
I am extremely heartbroken, but I thank God the Almighty who knows the end from the beginning, creator of everything, heaven and earth. Glory be to his holy name for life well spent. Your life.
His children, in their own tribute, remembered a father who was a beacon of both discipline and boundless affection. They spoke of a man who was firm in his values.
To me, I was Mr. Sam, named after his father, a name that came with the weight of trust and expectation of responsibility, and the quiet affirmation that he believed in the man I was becoming. Dad, your sense of humor and playful nature brought so many joy to our family.
Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema in his eulogy called upon the nation to draw inspiration from the life of Akson Sejani.
Very strong individual, very purposeful, with lots of clarity in what he says, and more importantly, those of us who interacted him in those environments, how he said it. What he says, how he says it, and what he does in line with what he says and how he says it.
The family confirmed that Mr. Sejani's journey came to an end on the 28th of July 2025. He passed away in Johannesburg, South Africa, where he was receiving treatment for kidney failure. He is survived by his devoted wife and 4 children who will forever carry his memory in their hearts. Elfie Mwale Shampande, Diamond News.
Our heartfelt condolences do go out to the family and the rest of the nation. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8 with me, Tapiwa Ngoma. What we have next is the weather. Thereafter, we'll take a look at the insight. And after the break, we'll come back and I'll be giving you some business news, headlines, and details. And thereafter, I'll be back with more stories that are making headlines on the Diamond News Desk at 8. But first up, the weather and the Diamond Insight.
This is your Diamond Insight of opening Zambian courtrooms to the public eye. On Monday, the attention of many Zambians turned to a South African courtroom where proceedings surrounding the late President Edgar Lungu's barrier dispute with the Zambian government were broadcast live. These rare access to real-time judicial proceedings sparked both interest and introspection back home. It is an undeniable reality that had this case been heard in Zambia, live coverage would have likely been barred. While a handful of high-profile cases have previously been broadcast, these instances remain exceptions rather than the rule granted at the discretion of the judiciary, not as a matter of public right. This moment demands serious reflection on the state of democracy in our country. How is it that in 2025, our justice system still operates under restrictions rooted in colonial-era thinking? The continued prohibition of live broadcast coverage, even in cases of profound national interest, reveals a troubling reluctance to embrace transparency and public accountability. In any functioning democracy, access to information is not just a privilege but a right. Live cameras in courtrooms are not novelties, they are instruments of transparency. Public scrutiny of judicial processes serves to strengthen, not weaken, the integrity of the justice system. What Diamond TV Zambia did on Monday in airing the South African proceedings was not extraordinary. It was responsibility as a media institution dedicated to informing the public in national interest. The time has come for Zambia to confront the gap between its democratic ideals and institutional practices. Our lawmakers and judiciary must work towards reforms that align our systems with contemporary democratic values. Open justice must no longer be treated as an uncomfortable proposition, but as a democratic imperative. We call on the Honorable Chief Justice and all relevant stakeholders to seriously consider policy reforms that allow for responsible live broadcasting of court proceedings, particularly those involving matters of public interest. Transparency breeds trust, and let us not shy away from it. Zambians deserve to witness justice in action.
Business News is brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Good evening. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8. I'm here to give you the business news headlines as we take a look at what is making business news this evening. One of the stories we'll be looking at this evening is SMEs struggle to cash in at agricultural show. And later on, we'll review government extending the IMF credit facility to support the 2026 budget. Do stay tuned and join me after this. Let's get straight to the business details this evening. Some small and medium enterprises, SMEs, have expressed disappointment over poor sales during the just-ended 97th Agricultural and Commercial Show, blaming the dominance of larger corporations at the event. Paul Nyirongo, a trader, told Diamond News that he struggled to make meaningful sales and was forced to sell products at cost price just to recover capital. Another exhibitor, Maxwell Luchembe, appealed to the show society to consider reducing entry fees in future, saying the current pricing limits public access and foot traffic.
It's been a week of bright lights, big brands and bustling crowds at the 97th Agriculture and Commercial Show. But behind the scenes, small and medium enterprises say they've been left in the shadows. Paul Nyirongo, one of the traders exhibiting at the show, has told Diamond News that business has been slow. He says he struggled to make any sales and ended up selling his goods at cost price just to recover his initial investment. It's not just sales that have traders concerned. Exhibitor Maxwell Luchembe says the high entry fees may be keeping many potential customers away. He's now calling on the show society to consider reducing the gate charges in future events.
Business hapa this year itaili bado sana. Sita compare na last year aliko ungana abantu lelo lo bayingira ko fesana ama days yonse atabalezi. day lo bayingira kwa abengi but situmota barishita ma price ya market yantu yali yayi then ama stand food yali bayi abantu these years tabakwetendala mishi shaka ngachita afford kulipira stand 4 pin kasako ku trade fair yaliko bwino twalipira kwa 1300.
As the show winds down, many SMEs are left reflecting on what could have been and hoping for a more level playing field in years to come. Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
The government has announced the extension of the International Monetary Fund IMF Extended Facility program to support the 2026 national budget and stabilize the economy. Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane confirmed during a press briefing in Lusaka on Tuesday that the program, originally set to conclude in October 2025, will now run until November 2026. He stated that the extension will unlock approximately $145 million in financing for critical budgetary needs. Dr. Msokotwane warned that failure to extend the program could result in a 4 billion kwacha shortfall and potential loss of donor confidence.
So the question then is, what next? And the answer is that it is going to be extended for an extra 1 year, from October 2025, or rather November 2025, to a year later.
In a significant move aimed at reinforcing the country's economic footing, government has resolved to extend its partnership with the International Monetary Fund under the Extended Credit Facility Program. The extension is aimed at playing a key role in financing the 2026 national budget. Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane, speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka on Tuesday, says the program will now run until November 2026, unlocking an estimated 145 million United States dollars to support the 2026 national budget.
The second reason why it is important for us to continue, of course, whenever there is a program supported by the IMF, there is also financial support that comes through. And the financial support we are looking at is about $145 million. $145 million is something that we can make use of as we go into the next year. But another reason also, if we were to abandon the IMF program, or if we conclude it now, some of the financial support that we receive from various donors would lose that, because that financial support comes on the basis of an IMF program being in place. So, for example, support from the World Bank, support from the African Development Bank, support from the European Union, and several other institutions. Those will give us budget support. If we do away with the IMF program, there's about 4 billion kwacha that we can count out in the 2026 budget.
Meanwhile, Director in the Debt Management Office at the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Masitala Mushinga, says Zambia's total public debt now stands at about 25 billion United States dollars, including $15.8 billion in external debt and $10 billion in domestic obligations.
That was generated for end June, which is end quarter 2, 2025. Central government external debt is $15.8 billion. Domestic debt is 242.7 billion kwacha. This includes both treasury bills and bonds. That's the stock. Then the guaranteed debt is $1.37 billion. Then in terms of the arrears, so the arrears usually were a quarter behind, so there's a lag of a quarter. So we have verified numbers as at end quarter 1, 2025.
With the IMF program now set to run until late 2026, government is banking on its continued support to fund its priorities and steer the economy back to recovery. Rachel Mumba
For Diamond News.
Let's now shift our attention and see what the Kwacha's performance has been. The Kwacha's performance on the international market as of close of business today. Let's take a look at the US dollar and how it was trading against the Kwacha. The USD was buying in Kwacha terms at 22 Kwacha 90 Ngwe and was selling at 23 Kwacha 28 Ngwe as of 5th August 2025. Good performance of the Kwacha getting into August, and these rates are from the Zambia National Commercial Bank and the Bank of Zambia. Let's now shift our attention and see what our construction commodity prices look like. Our construction commodity prices this evening will show you what you'll be purchasing these commodity prices as far as construction is concerned, and you might want to get one of these, brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. We are looking at a rechargeable hammer drill, and this will cost you about 7,000 Kwacha for a body plus the case. Let's see what the next item is on our construction commodity prices. This is a flexible sink drain pipe. Now, this will cost you somewhere around 557 Kwacha. Do remember that these commodity prices for construction commodities are brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. Those are construction commodity prices. Let's shift our attention now and see what our commodity prices as far as food and non-food items are looking like. The commodity prices this evening will show you the average price of commodities when you go out to shop. Let's start off first with our food items. 1 kg of beef at an average of 110 Kwacha. 2 kg of sugar will cost you nothing more than 70 Kwacha. 2.5 kg of flour will cost you 89 Kwacha on average, while 5 liters of cooking oil will cost you nothing above 300 Kwacha. Stay where you are. Your non-food items are as follows. This is how much you'll be purchasing these non-food items when you go out to shop. 10 rolls of toilet paper, on average 85 Kwacha. 500 grams of washing powder will cost you nothing more than 45 Kwacha, while a bar of bathing soap is going between 19 Kwacha and 47 Kwacha. These altogether are your commodity prices. And that concludes our business this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll continue with the rest of the news desk as I now give you more stories that are on the news desk this evening.
Business News was brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Welcome back. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8 with me, Tapio Angoma. Now that you're all caught up with what's making headlines in business, let's take a look at more stories from across the country. Some small and medium enterprises have expressed disappointment over poor sales during the just ended 97th Agriculture and Commercial Show. That's one of the stories that we did look at as far as business was concerned. But now we're looking at more stories here, which would take us all the way to Luena Bridge on the verge of collapse. The details in this particular story: a vital crossing in Luena constituency, Limulunga district, Western Province, is on the brink of collapse, forcing motorists to wade through water as the deteriorating structure becomes increasingly unsafe. Residents say the bridge, once a lifeline for transportation and trade, now poses a serious safety hazard. They are urgently calling for government to intervene, warning that any further delays could lead to disaster. Diamond News visited the site to assess the situation.
A cracked and weakening bridge held up by rusted supports, now visibly shifting, is raising alarm in Luena constituency of Western Province. Once a key crossing for vehicles, Nalue Bridge has become impassable. Motorists are now resorting to driving through the water, risking their vehicles and their safety as the structure continues to fail. The residents say the bridge connects several communities to essential services, including schools, health facilities, and markets, but its current condition poses a serious risk.
The bridge is cracked and isn't stable. Pupils who pass here usually get injured. We don't know what will happen if it finally collapses. And what if someone needs urgent medical attention because vehicles can't pass here? He said. The visibly damaged structure has been left unattended for months, and community members now fear the worst. Meanwhile, the Limulunga Town Council Secretary visited the area and had this to say.
As it is, we have received complaints regarding the state of the bridge, and we can't even allow motor vehicles to use it at the moment. It used old technology that requires to be upgraded. The submissions are currently being made to the district decision making, that is the CDFC committee, that under the Constituency Development Fund. We are pretty sure that in the near future something will be done regarding the same, because we need to assure the safety of road users, the pedestrians. If we check, even the handrails are not there. We need to ensure that such things are installed.
A few meters away, there's a school that has been upgraded to an examination center, and the community members are asking where the vehicles that carry the examination papers will pass. Reporting for Diamond News in Luena constituency of Western Province, Christine Musole.
A gender-based violence survivor in Mazabuka is set to undergo life-changing surgery thanks to intervention from a dedicated gender team working under the District Administration Office. The woman, who suffers complications from a previous hip bone illness treated with a metal implant, is now receiving coordinated medical and social support to address her deteriorating condition. Speaking to Diamond News, Mazabuka Gender Coordinator and District Administration Officer Timothy Mulenga has confirmed that a team comprising officers from the District Health Department, Social Welfare and Community Development has been mobilized to manage her case.
A gender-based violence GBV survivor in Mazabuka district of Southern Province has expressed gratitude to the gender team officers who have stepped in to assist with her medical and social welfare needs. The woman is scheduled to undergo surgery to address complications with her hip bone, stemming from a previous implanted metal device linked to an earlier illness.
Alimwe awunseva chironda ngulu alimwe akansimbika kazwa mposition balandiranganya akalo so ndipakulumba no bantu baleza kulugwaho lupati olu mulimo mpato ngomwabereka so mwambireza kazumanana kumuleleka kamukizumanana ikugwaha abamwe balumba maningi.
And speaking to Diamond News, Mazabuka Gender Coordinator and District Administration Officer Timothy Mulenga confirmed that a team comprising of officers from the District Health Office, Social Welfare and Community Development has been formed to intervene. He stated that the team's immediate priority is to address the woman's medical condition, specifically the shifted metal implant. He says plans are also underway to refer her to Lusaka for specialized treatment through the surgical doctor at Mazabuka General Hospital. He also confirmed that the team is also looking at the support needed towards the child's education so that she can get back to school. Helga Chibwe, Diamond News, Mazabuka District in Southern Province.
The BRE, through the Right Honorable Ngambela Mukela Manyando, says it has accepted the relocation exercise of 2,000 wild beasts and 300 zebras from Liwa Plain National Park in Kafue National Park, despite concerns over initial lack of consultation. The Ngambela has emphasized their shared commitment to promoting tourism and sustainable development in Barotse land in the spirit of conservation and its long-standing collaboration with African parks. A landmark wildlife translocation is currently underway in Zambia as the Ministry of Tourism, in partnership with African Parks and the Barotse Royal Establishment, moves the wild beasts and zebras. Christine has more details in this report.
National Park is Africa's second largest of wildebeest migration after Serengeti of Tanzania. As per 2018 census, the park had 40,000 wildebeest, 5,000 plain zebra, 2,200 red lechwe, among other animals. Last week, the Ministry of Tourism announced the translocation of 2,000 wildebeest and 300 zebras to the Kafue National Park, a decision that the Barotse Royal Establishment has echoed.
The Barotse Royal Establishment is delighted to be part of this important conservation endeavor. Having nurtured Liuwa Plain National Park since King Lewanika established it as a game sanctuary in the late 1880s. Thanks to His Majesty the Litunga Lugosi Mwiko II, who concerned about the unrestrained poaching and its attendant serious depletion of wildlife in the park, in 2004 arranged a partnership with the African Parks and the Department of National Parks and Wildlife for a co-management of Liuwa.
The Right Honourable has further added that though the establishment wasn't consulted in the planning stages, the translocation has been allowed.
The Barotse Royal Establishment wishes to explain, however, that the exercise of translocating game from Liuwa was not discussed with us beforehand, and therefore we didn't sanction it. This notwithstanding, we have accepted the exercise to proceed in the best interest of our partnership with the African Parks, and also in the interest of the development of tourism in this circuit.
As Liuwa lends its wildlife to Kafue and welcomes back a long-absent species, the joint conservation efforts mark a significant step in preserving Zambia's natural heritage. Reporting for Diamond News, Christine Musole.
May God bless you.
You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8 with me, Tapiwa Ngoma. We take another set of commercials. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8 with me, Tapiwa Ngoma. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has called on poll staff, including presiding officers and security personnel, to act as ambassadors of truth and professionalism as the Mfue parliamentary by-election approaches on August 7th, 2025 at Lavushimanda District, Muchinga Province. Speaking during the official closing of poll staff training in the district, ECZ Commissioner MacDonald Chipenzi urged electoral officers to uphold the Commission's standards by ensuring credibility, transparency, and peaceful conduct during the election.
Political parties here in Mfue constituency are gearing up for the tightly contested by-election, with just 2 days before the electorate heads to the polls. The environment remains calm and security is visible, a clear sign of preparations reaching the final stretch. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has handed over ballot papers to presiding officers.
At this point in time, which is Tuesday, 5th August, we will officially hand over the ballot papers to the presiding officers who are clad in our aprons, and they've been paired with uniformed staff who will escort the presiding officers and the poll staff to the various polling stations.
The materials have been securely transported under the escort of armed officers and polling staff in line with standard electoral procedure. The by-election scheduled for August 7th, 2025 was triggered following the conviction of incumbent Member of Parliament Maureen Mavonga, who was sentenced to 8 months for seditious practices by the Lusaka Magistrate Court. 3 political parties are in the race: the United Party for National Development, New Congress Party, and Socialist Party, all expressing confidence in securing victory. Commissioners from the Electoral Commission of Zambia took time to address presiding officers, political parties, poll staff, men and women in uniform, and all other stakeholders, urging them to uphold peace and ensure a credible, free, and fair electoral process.
I reiterate, be the voice of truth and hard work. Counter misinformation with facts. Represent the Commission with dignity and clarity of thought, and bring back the good news of fairness to the process and pride to the Commission because of your good ways.
Police officers, they are all your workmates. Please make sure that the people you are going with, you are going to protect them from any eventuality. As you are aware of your duties, let us have discipline. When you are talking to some people, don't use that police language.
Because it's not an easy task before you. So we just hope that the training was enough. It has armed you with the prerequisites, of what a poll staff is supposed to be. So all the best. Look after yourselves in the field, and we shall meet.
As Mfue constituency prepares to make its choice, the focus now turns to the voters, whose voice will determine the next representative in Parliament. Reporting for Diamond News in Lavushimanda District, Mchinga Province, I'm Best Jerry.
Thank you, Best, for that story, which brings us to the end of our bulletin this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the Diamond News Desk at 8. We do have another bulletin coming up in the morning at 6 a.m. where we give you more stories that are on the news desk. Do enjoy the rest of the viewing, and from all of us here, we say thank you so much. And as always, so it's a pleasure bringing you these stories. Do stay tuned to our viewing. My name is Tapongoma. Have a pleasant evening, and God bless.